This is some honest feedback about the state of Florida. This is a lifetime, this is a lifetime of assertions about Florida, some of which I have to say I have been challenging recently. So I'm going to go through pluses and minuses of the state of Florida. And this is the updated version because my previous versions of it were pretty harsh. I don't know that I really did it on TikTok. It's more like people in real life have gotten this from me. Now, the first thing I have to note, my entire family lives in Florida. Everybody's moved here. None of us were born here, but on the East Coast, the Northeast, everybody kind of finds their way down to Florida. Not everybody, but a lot of people, particularly when they're in retirement age, as many of you probably already know. But even my brothers, when they were younger, ended up settling here. And Florida has certain advantages, but I'm going to just go through my impressions. I'm going to compare both to states like California, where I spent almost 40 years, and then I'm also going to compare it to France in some places. This is more targeted at people. This is more targeted at people that aren't moving necessarily to Europe, but are thinking about a place to go in the United States. And so, yeah, here we go. Let me start with some positive things, including some things that I found surprising. Having spent a little bit more time here recently, like before we moved to France, we were here, and now we've been here for a couple weeks doing our visa exchange. The produce is way better than California. The produce I've been having tastes way better. The fruit and the vegetables taste better, cleaner, healthier. That shocks me, honestly. I don't know why that is, but it's true, at least where we were in Northern California. So going into Publix, which it's like everything, all roads lead to Publix here. It's like, that's your grocery store. But Publix is actually really good. I have to say, the grocery store is better than any of the grocery stores in California. It's like if you took the best of Whole Foods and Safeway and Albertsons and Lucky's and whatever, put it together, and it would still not be as good as like a Publix that I've been in, either like Orlando or here in the Gulf Coast side, like we're down south of Tampa. It's good. I'm like shocked, and I don't give that out easily. It's actually really, really good. And that grocery store, you spend obviously a lot of time, a lot of money there, so it's really important, and the quality of the food. Now, that doesn't change anything about the quality of food. It's still U.S. food, and it's still got all the problems we've talked about and everything, but I don't know what they're spraying on these fruits and vegetables. I don't have a chemical analysis kit, so I can't speak to that, but I'm just going from like the taste of it tastes more like real food. And we've had a whole bunch of different fruits and vegetables, and this is shocking to me because I have to kind of expand my consciousness there to include that now. Many of you already know about the financial aspects of Florida. I'll talk about, there's positive and negative. So the positive is no state taxes. So you definitely, state income tax doesn't exist. So, coming from California perspective, where you pay a lot to the state in taxes, you're saving money there. However, the cost of living in Florida is actually quite high now. It wasn't always this way, but a lot of people have figured out to come to Florida. It's like no secret. So it's, it's really expensive. I talked about Miami being expensive, but honestly, the Orlando area here, again, the Gulf Coast, where you have a lot of retirees on fixed incomes, I'm a little shocked at how much it costs for the food in the grocery store and other things that we're seeing. It's not cheap. So, I mean, again, this just goes to like places that are going to be popular are going to be more expensive. And so I can't speak to the middle of the country. I can't compare it directly, but Florida isn't cheap. And so from that point, that's a negative to me, is that you're still dealing with extremely inflated prices. And I mean, some of them are as like bad as California. So that surprises me. So yes, you're saving money on the taxes, but you're giving it back up in other places. Also, insurance costs as we've discussed in other videos, very high, have gotten much higher. So things like auto insurance and other things that we're talking to like my parents about what they're paying, it's a lot of money. And so you just high expenses as well. Not everything, but enough things that it's significant. Okay, so the weather, let's talk about the weather. Right now, this is one of those times where you would come here and be like, man, this is awesome. I could live here in Florida because it is so nice right now. We're in October. There was just a horrible hurricane. So we literally got here just after hurricane, after really super hot August, early August, was miserable, and we got here. So it's just this little pocket we're in. We're really lucky. But I've been here to Florida, all across the state at every possible time, every possible season. And the majority of the time for me, the weather is extreme in bad ways, whether it's, storms or hurricanes or ridiculous humidity, where you have to go from an air-conditioned car to an air-conditioned building, and it's just miserable for me. Now, some people thrive in that. That's fine. For me, I like moderate temperatures. I like high 60s to mid 70s as much as possible throughout the year, and Florida ain't that. So for me, Florida weather-wise is not attractive. But everybody's different. Some people like it ridiculously hot. Some people love and thrive on humidity. It's not me, so your mileage may vary there. Now, this next part is about friendliness, and I have recency bias, admittedly, going on here because I've been spending so far in this trip. We're heading over to Central Florida. We're heading to the Orlando area next. But we started in Miami, then we went across the state to the Sarasota area, south of Tampa, Sarasota, Venice, that area, and then the next place we're going to go is Orlando. So I will just tell you, so far, people are really, really friendly here. I had noticed it before, but this trip, it's been everybody's been consistently super, super nice. The vibe here is less stressed out than I was seeing in California and other places that I've traveled around in the US. So I'm not saying people aren't stressed out here, but not getting that vibe the way that I did. And I'm in a heavily retirement-centric area. So people are, because of that, they're retired. And that's a great vibe. So I like that part. I mean, if you don't mind that, if you're a younger person, you probably don't want to be hanging around a bunch of retirees. I mean, maybe you do, I don't know, but that might not be the vibe you're going for. So it just depends on who you are, what your age is, what your life situation is, what you're looking for. But I will just say, this Gulf Coast area, way more chill. They have these beach bars you can go to with music. My brother plays at a bunch of them. In fact, I played in a gig right before we came out here. I even documented it on a video on my channel. But it's just got a cool vibe. So it's definitely more chill, and I like that. Again, that's part of what we enjoy in being in France, specifically in the south of France, because not all of France is like that. Okay, geographical. Florida's flat. It's a bunch of swamps. It's flat. It's unvaried terrain. I get lost all the time. I never get lost driving. I get lost all the time in Florida because there's these long stretches of either strip malls or palm trees and highway, and it's I feel like it's on repeat, somebody copy and pasted the landscape. I just get I'm where the hell am I? That happens constantly in Florida when I'm driving around. I also don't know the area very well, but it just feels very geographically undiverse, and that's boring to me. But if you like what it has to offer and you don't mind that it's a copy and paste topo map of the entire state, that could be okay. For me, I don't like that. I like to have here's the sea and here's the mountains and I like to have a big variety of those things. So for me, not a great part of Florida. So, and here's a weird self question to ask. I was just thinking this. If I was forced, gun to my head, right, you have to live in the US for X number of months a year, whatever it is, right? Whether it's 3 or, 182 days, not 183, because, majority of time sort of rules and all that. But if I had to live some portion of my year in the US, I would definitely consider Florida, probably the Gulf Coast, as one of them because of these things that I've been talking about. Even with all that in mind, it would be in my finalist list. Other finalist list areas would be, I'd say parts of Colorado, probably not in the winter. Parts of Utah in the winter because of the skiing. I love Utah skiing. Pennsylvania, my home state, definitely. But again, would not be psyched about the winter. The Jersey Shore, definitely spring, summer, early fall. I love that area. Other states I would definitely consider would be the Carolinas, north and south, beautiful, and Willamette Valley, Oregon, because I would just sit there and drink all their Pinot. But these are all seasonal picks. It wouldn't be year round.